promised me he's
All
going
right.
to move quickly.
I make a motion to come out of executive session.
All right, so
Briefly.
got a motion by Mr. Bishop to come out of executive
Second.
session, second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign, and we had no action taken in executive session. Mr. Slade, we got a few people that's coming in the room, so if you can give me about 30 seconds.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Thank y'all for sticking around.
Okay, Mr. Slade, I think we got everybody in the room. Go ahead and proceed.
Yes, so, gentlemen, we've already acknowledged on the minutes that we took no action in executive session. This board made no decisions of any kind in executive session. We do have interim emergency actions that we need the board to consider as it relates to your human resource agency. The first is to acknowledge on your minutes that you have become, by virtue of resignations of board members, you have become the de facto board of the human resource agency. I need a motion to acknowledge that on the minutes.
All right.
You gonna do the other one also?
Yeah, so that's
So-
going to be an add. No, I'm sorry. No,
It's
no,
already
I had
on there, I
potential
think.
action on the agenda, so that's where we are.
So can we go ahead and take action on that now, Mr. Slade, or you want to do
You
them all
can,
together?
you can,
All right.
unless
I'll
y'all want
make
to do
the
them
motion.
at one
All right,
time.
so a motion by Mr. Calhoun,
Second.
second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. So item number 2, Mr. Slade.
Yes, sir, I'd like for you guys to authorize the county administrator and your county controller, Ms. Martin, to serve as the two authorized signatories for any bank transaction, check transaction, any authorizations for payment that are the obligations of Rankin County Human Resource Agency, regardless of who it goes to. Those two would serve as the authorized signatories.
Do we
on the
need to
bank.
add that?
Please, well, no, sir.
It's
I've
already
got an
part of-
action
okay.
statement. This is an action item that we're requesting. So
I make a
Keith
motion to
and
appoint
Wanda.
Keith is the interim director and authorize both of them to sign checks.
Okay.
Second.
So motion by Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? Now, do we want to say director or just authorization of signatures?
So
Which one would it
so
should-
Jay-
which one should it
Jay-
be?
Jay included. Now we have a two-part motion.
Right.
And so that took away item number 3 from me. So the first item that I was going to ask for, Jay, if you're willing to amend your motion, the authorized signatories on the bank accounts would be Keith and Wanda.
Okay.
Okay, are you okay with that?
Yes.
Not as the director, but signature authorizations, right? By
I thought we
Mr.
needed to have a director also.
You do.
I think he's
It's
coming.
We're on
Next
number
one.
3.
That's
All right,
coming.
I'll
so-
amend my motion just for the signatures.
Jerry, you all right with that?
Yeah.
All right, so a motion by Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. That was signatures from Ms. Martin and Mr. Hicks. Okay,
Yes.
so the third item, Mr.
Third
Slade.
item is to appoint Mr. Hicks, the county administrator, as the interim director of the Human Resource Agency.
Mr. Bishop.
Interim director.
I'll make that motion.
All right, so a motion by Mr. Calhoun,
Second.
second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign.
Okay. Those are the 3 items. I mentioned when we were addressing this back at the time that we were discussing before we went to executive, that we were not asking the board to make any sort of final determination as it relates to the agency. These are interim steps, emergency steps to help us make sure that we can cover our bases until we can get to a point of decision. So I wanted to clarify, that's all the board has done at this point. I do want to say that we've heard loudly and clearly from the state by virtue of their appearance here in this board meeting today and their addressing of the board. They loudly and clearly said, we are transferring all of our interactions with the Human Resource Agency as it exists to a different entity. They said that loudly, they said that clearly. I asked specifically, is that a final decision? And my interpretation of the response is yes.
Okay.
I want to make it clear that that's what has happened as of this morning. That is from the state of Mississippi. That is a decision made by the state of Mississippi. That is not a decision made by this board.
All right, thank you, Mr. Slade. Mr. Hicks, move into your section under item number 11.
Yes, sir. I've got some good news today. Item A is the acknowledgement of the Chancery Clerk's payment of excess fees. This is the second check received from the Chancery Clerk. The amount today is to acknowledge the receipt of $475,424.
Okay.
If you guys will give me a little bit of a privilege here, I want to say on behalf of the board that we really appreciate our fee-based officials. By the way, Larry's contribution is not the only fee-based excess fee income contribution that the board has received or will receive. We expect a check from your circuit clerk as well. Our fee-based officials run their offices really, really well and efficiently. And the reason that you're getting a check for excess fee income is because they are able to operate their entities in such a way that it generates excess fee income, which becomes your dollars. That's a big deal. Keep in mind that your Chancery Clerk has already provided you a front-loaded portion of excess fee income for this year. So the $475 that we're getting today is not reflective of all of the excess fee income that the Chancery Clerk is remitted to you. He helped us with the school plan again, and we were able to provide for playgrounds and some other things related to some of our elementary age school children back right at the end of the year. So big deal, needs to be talked about. And I have one other matter that I would ask for indulgence, Mr. President, to do. Ms. Flood, would you please step over here for me, please? Thank you. No, ma'am. Come over here. She is not resigning. That won't happen as long as I'm around here.
I thought we were gonna put her in charge of the Human Resource Agency.
So-
I thought that's where we were.
I think that would create a resignation. So I asked Jessica to step up here because, and this is always dangerous, and I told her that I was going to embarrass her in front of everybody. But it's always dangerous, and it's because this is going to feel like I'm singling out a particular employee when we have a ton of really good employees. And so I'm not, by singling out Jessica and extolling some actions that she has taken to help us, by singling her out, I'm not indicating that she's the only employee that we ought to applaud for their effort and their work. It's just that this is a perfect opportunity for me to tell you that she stepped up to the plate and made some phone calls and made sure that folks were aware of some situations that would otherwise we would not have known about. So I'm glad that Trace is here as well to hear this. Back before, about October of 21, Jessica called me and said, I want to share something with you that has bothered me, and I need you to look at this. And so she pointed out that since 2015, Rankin County has been shorted by the state of Mississippi, by the legislature, because the state has not allocated homestead reimbursement funds to all counties and cities and school districts in the state. And Rankin County's shortfall since 2015, every year it has accumulated, and the state is now in hock to us on our homestead reimbursement from 15 to 21 to the tune of about $1 million.
Wow.
That's the county and the school district both
Well, they voted.
added together. So
Wow.
Jessica said, we got to fix that. That's not right. They should reimburse us for all of it. Why do they keep shorting us? So I said, would you quit complaining and just do your job? And so I took that information, which I was unaware of until Jessica had brought it to my attention, and I went to Trey, I went to John Milner, and I said, surely with the situation that the state is in now with the surplus, surely we can get something done. And so that's a very short version of a ton of work
Right.
that went into getting full homestead reimbursement for this fiscal year. We're not addressing the back shortage. Jess and I will work on what they still owe us from those prior years. But at least for this year and for the foreseeable future, the lieutenant governor has said we need to fully fund homestead reimbursement. We should not continue to shortchange
Right.
counties, cities, school districts, and others. And so this time, we got a full allocation in excess of $90 million, where the 21 allocation was about 78 million, 79 million. And so that $11 million increase in homestead reimbursement allocation from the state to the Department of Revenue, so it can be pushed out to all of the counties, will mean that you're not gonna have a shortfall for 22. And I wanted Jess to get the credit for that, because she made the call.
We thank you. We all thank you. You know that. Yeah.
I was gonna say, Craig, why don't you just let her step up to the mic and explain to us how she did that? You know, just explain to us.
She called Delbert.
It's called Delbert,
She
right?
called Delbert.
That's right.
I made a lot of phone calls.
So, sometimes I talk bad about MAS, and there's a long history there, and I probably shouldn't. But those guys stepped up. Derek Surratt, Steve Gray, they stepped up, and they actually shouldered a lot of the burden of making the message go as far as it possibly could. Our guys did what we had to do to make sure that the folks that really decide whether or not something's gonna happen or not knew how important this was to Rankin County.
Yeah.
They listened, and they responded, and I'm thankful for that. And so again, it started with Jess, because it never would have been on my radar if she had not said, we gotta fix that.
Okay.
So, I wanted to give credit where credit was due.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Slay. Mr. Hicks, anything else under,
Hey,
your
I
section?
just one question. What's the 475? What's it going, supposed to go to?
That
Is this
is
coming
gonna
back
be
to
a
general
decision
fund?
for this board to make, and I
Okay.
think Mr. Hicks may have some thoughts to
Well,
share with
I
you.
just meant, we don't have to get into them now. I just thought it was earmarked for something specifically right now. Not yet.
General
Okay.
fund.
General fund?
Right.
District Board.
All right, anything else, Mr. Hicks?
Okay.
Mr. Slay, anything else in additional business?
Just one other thing in additional business, I think this will help. This will be an illustration for something that is somewhat new to me. I think I knew about this, but I want to share it with you guys. What are you looking at right here?
Leesburg Road,
Yeah,
District
guess what
4.
you're looking at right here. What you see right here is a photo and
Yep.
GPS related data. This actually is a screenshot that was provided to me at my request by our friends at Waste Management to help illustrate some of the technology that they now have available. So I wanted to walk you guys through this. And I chose this because we had a recent
Oh, yeah, I know about it.
situation that
Yeah.
popped up.
Oh, you do too,
And
Steve.
so
And
I
all of
wanted to illustrate. So if you'll look at the little screenshot data over here on the left, what you see is a photo. That is not a real-time photo. That is a Google image, and so it would not reflect a date, a specific date. It's probably 2 years old, to be quite honest with you. But that is a photo that reflects the address that is being investigated. So that is a photo of 1585 Leesburg Road. That's what that looks like.
About 2 years ago.
Yeah, probably 2 years ago, yes.
Well, you got, sent something out
but
recently.
It's to help illustrate, in case there's a question, what does that look like? What does that property look like? They have the ability to actually tie it to an address and call
What
it
are we
up and
talking
send it
about?
to you. I'm getting there.
Well,
Waste
it's
management.
right here.
This is a waste management technology that they have and can provide to us for any recognized address that they service for solid waste collection. I want you to see what it looks like, what you could expect to get if you ask at some point, show me, tell me where the trucks were on this day, on this route, show me where they are. If you look over to the right, what you see is a real-time
Your man, Jerry
map.
Brooks.
Yeah.
Notice
That's
the
it.
date on the left, this was Saturday, April the 9th, at 8:02 a.m. The dots here reflect that truck on that route, where that truck was during that time period. So
Will
at
it show if he
8:02
stopped or not?
Yep, the red dot indicates a stop. Now, let me.
They got to stop
add,
at least 2 minutes or
This
so.
is not gonna be every stop, because they
minutes.
don't stay at a place.
They gotta stay there.
For a long enough period for it to show up
Recognize
as an actual
That's a long
stop.
time.
The green shows the path of travel for the route.
Right.
Checked into it.
So the red
I
dot,
looked into that.
the top red dot
If they stop.
is 8:02
Take them
a.m.
on, but it'll take them 2 minutes to get your
on
garbage.
April the 9th.
10 seconds.
Why am I walking you guys through this?
Cause we have a guy
This
that's been an
technology-
asshole.
yeah, we have this technology available to us, so that if you get a phone call, Ms. Janice gets a phone call, they didn't stop. I had my trash, they didn't stop. The answer now can be, we will get Waste Management to send us digital proof that the truck ran the route, and I'll be able to tell you when they were at your address.
Yeah, but if they don't, how long, Brad said it takes them 2 minutes for that to show
It's a
up.
minute or two that it will pop
They
up
don't,
as
they
being
don't take them,
stopped.
they don't take them 10 seconds to grab your
The
garbage.
green dots.
But it doesn't mean they
show up.
stopped.
That's right.
That's the only problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it don't mean they stopped and got their garbage,
Right.
it just
That's
means they're on
exactly
the
right.
road.
That's
Or it may not
exactly
even been out. The
But,
reason they
but
didn't
the
stop.
the first reaction with the customer does not necessarily have to be, dadgummit, Waste Management. We have the ability to drill down a little bit and get some proof that they were actually running that route. And what I hope this will help is to educate our customers a little bit, that if you don't get your trash out to the road by that 7 a.m. requirement that's in our contract with Waste Management, you may get bypassed. If you set it out there at 8 o'clock and they were there at 7:45, and we have this that shows they were there at 7:45, maybe next time we gotta get it out there at 7:30 or 7 like we asked.
That's-
This is a way for
Yeah.
us to have better information.
It's
And
really
something
good.
we can-
It's good, it's 80% good, but on Highway 43, these people watch the truck go by.
Yep.
There's no doubt. And then they chase him down. So, I mean, that's not good for that.
I
They'll,
agree. This is also a helpful employee training.
Yeah,
tool for
yeah.
Waste Management. So this is a team, this is not a panacea, this
Yeah.
ain't gonna answer every single
Yeah.
question. But it does help to,
it would if they had it where every stop was in red. If they were stopped for 10 seconds.
I know it, that's what I'd like.
That would be.
I guess it takes us that long to get the data. so
Yeah, I mean, I
got-
can see why it'd be hard to do it.
it's a satellite uplink issue, as far as that's concerned. Probably there's some level of delay there, Steve.
And a lot, on that on 43, there's like trucks, maybe 2 or 3 different routes on that 43. Some come in from a different
Yep,
way and thinking,
right.
well, this truck's going to this house and
Yep.
I go
Right.
to this house and turn around, but they
Right.
forget both of them.
Right.
Yep.
Oh,
Thinking
yeah.
the other one's gonna get this one, it could be a new
Yeah, and
driver.
that truck may be just traveling,
That's-
going to
Get on,
unload.
on this other route
Yeah.
or
I mean,
load it.
43 is a travel road.
I want y'all to see what it looks like so that if you decide that you want.
Oh, I'll use it.
further education.
Use the shit out of it. I would love, and I'm going to contact this guy that sent his bad messages.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna ask him, what time did you put your garbage out? Because the truck was there at 8:02.
Yep.
And Steve, what I've done is on them that pretty regular, hey, go out there and that morning and see if that garbage is there. You put your eyes on it, then you'll know if it's there or not. You gotta just,
Yeah.
I mean, I can get up on Saturday mornings and just ride.
I think if over time, our folks out
Make
there.
sure they got-
communicate
My old
better.
lady has usually got a leg over me on Saturday.
Over time, my hope is that our customers.
We're not in the executive.
Realize that we have a way to determine whether or not a truck was on the route, that maybe they'll give us a little more room,
Yeah.
and they'll be a little more careful about
Yeah.
making sure they're
Yeah,
garbage.
and I will say this,
Alright.
anytime we get a complaint, Waste Management, they've been very responsive in going out and addressing the situation that day.
Yeah, they
So-
look pretty good about it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
So we need to go into executive session for litigation.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion, us need to go into
So
executive.
moved, second.
So motion by Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with like sign? So
Make a
executive
motion, go
session.
into executive session, litigation.
So motion for litigation by Mr. Bishop, second by
Me.
Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with a like sign.
Steve, you got a leg in this race?
No, no.